unless you've been living under the Titanic 2 for the last 6 months, you would have realised that there's a federal election coming up in just a few weeks. You would have also no doubt seen the relentless campaign advertisement by the Clive Palmer's United Australia Party.
Zero emissions, zero jobs and zero future. Thanks for zero, ScoMo and Albo. Join the United Australia Party.
Estimates say that in the 2019 federal election, the United Australia Party spent big, $80 million big. The party recently also announced that they're ready and willing to go further this federal election, spending even more than they did in 2019.
Dr. Andrea Carson is an Associate Professor in Journalism at La Trobe University. She suggests that Clive Palmer isn't just spending money to try and win seats, but to gain influence.
By having that prominent campaign, he got a lot of media attention, and he was also able to deal himself in with the major parties to ensure that he was there swapping preferences when it came to the preference trading that the political parties do, and that gives him influence.
Graham Orr, a law professor at Queensland University, agrees that Palmer's aim is not just to gain seats.
Clearly what Mr Palmer has done this time, well, he's now sitting at 4 or 5%, so he started early and he's outflanked some of these other, you might call right-wing or even right-wing libertarian parties, like One Nation, like the Liberal Democrat or Liberty and Democracy Party, like the Anti-Vaxxer Party. So he's got to march on them, and he's become, I guess, the major minor party this time round. Secondly, he's just distorted the agenda. We're all talking about Clive Palmer and freedom, 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 even though we've been out of lockdowns for many, many, many months. So, I think it's more than an ego thing for Mr Palmer, but that's part of it.
Palmer's big campaign budget has brought into question the election laws we have in Australia and whether they're fit for purpose.
If we just think about the upcoming national election, there aren't a lot of laws. There are very few laws about information as such, because we're sort of, fairly liberal democracy. And, there's a big debate about fake news and misinformation. So you can kind of say anything you like as long as you don't do what journalists never do, which is defame people. But that's about attacking individuals falsely. And most of our elections are about parties and policies more than individuals. The only other thing you can't do is mislead voters about basic stuff like what day the election is or how do you cast a valid vote. So there's no laws about truth in political advertising at the national election, so you can kind of make all sorts of claims about your opponent's policies and so on.
Laws regarding the information that parties and candidates can use in their campaign advertising and how much they can spend on their campaign are severely lacking.
When it comes to money, what we've seen with Mr Palmer, enormous spending, and he did that the last national election. So, for example, we don't have limits on how much you can spend at our national elections.
Other countries like Canada and the UK do have those limits in place, and so Australia's laws, by comparison, are considered pretty lax.
Politicians campaign hard for the votes of young people, but do the young people of Australia even care what the pollies have to say? Have all the broken promises and dirty politics become too much to bear? We asked a bunch of La Trobe University students what was going to sway their vote at the next upcoming elections.
Just no Labour or Liberal. Honestly, or Green, so no one.
I can't vote, I'm a Kiwi.
Oh yeah, she's not even, this is my first time voting, so I don't really know.
My business, honestly.
Not Liberal though, I know that. No Liberal, and then what's Pauline Hanson's party?
They can vote.
Your brothers can vote?
They vote for me.
Yeah.
Vote for me this year.
No Pauline Hanson.
I think we need someone who, first of all, isn't trying to make us pay for rapid tests.
I don't know. I need to look into more politics. I haven't had to vote yet because I'm freshly 18. So I definitely need to do my politics research, I guess.
I don't know, honestly. No idea.
Probably mainly like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'd say climate change. And what the benefits will be for working class people.
I'll be honest, I'm not into that or like the politics stuff. I'm just I'm just not really into it, so I can't give you a proper answer.
Education, probably education, corruption, foreign policy, and Those are probably the three biggest things, at least that come to mind right now.
Take it seriously. Remember that whoever gets into government, gets the majority of the lower house seats, they get to determine policy. They get to shape the direction of the country. So while it might be fun to think about not voting sensibly by not filling out the paper properly, you're denying yourself that opportunity to have a say in who gets to govern the country.